Hello everyone, welcome to An Abundance of Books. My name is Julia and today we're doing the 4th round of my categories TBR game. I want to say one thing and my phone goes off. There is a playlist down below for those of you who are new, but I think it should be pretty self-explanatory. We're playing one round of categories and those will be the prompts that help me pick my books for April. I will choose 5 of them. In terms of what I'm hoping to get, there are 2 vlogs that have books, naturally, on a booktube channel, about 5 books, I think, combined between them. So as many of those as I can get on would be great. One of them is strict, like I have to read specific books, and one of them is books in general, so I think we'll be okay. What's not okay is this angle. I keep saying I'm going to find a good one. Next time we're going to leave this room because I think we've exhausted all angles in here. Is that better? No, much worse. Is that better? It's not worse. Okay. Now we have our timer and we can get going. I'm nervous about what this is going to give me. I don't know why. I haven't been nervous past months. I have a bad feeling. Here we go. H. Okay. Done. Time to spare. I had one that was not okay, how difficult it was, and I'm still not happy with my answer, but we'll talk about it. And here are my answers. Heroes, I have He-Man. He feels like he should fall into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Gifts, I did handmade. That's a whole category. The best gifts are handmade. Terms of endearment, honey. Types of dances, hoedown. Things that are black, hair. Vehicles, Honda. Tropical locations, Havana. College majors, history. Dairy products, Havarti cheese. Things in a souvenir shop, that's the one that was giving me a lot of trouble. I did handbag. I was going for more trinkety, but I feel like bags are very common souvenirs. Items in your purse or wallet, hand sanitizer, and world records, holding breath. The problem is, what in the world are we going to pick for these books? Welcome back. Let's talk about some books. It was definitely a challenging list, but I got some really good stuff in there. Other things I forgot to mention at the beginning, I'm not taking a punishment this month. I am technically going to complete what I said I would do for March. We'll talk about that in my wrap-up, but I'm not taking a punishment this month. March was a very weird month. You'll see. The wrap-up's going to be interesting. Also, I do the buzzword reading challenge every month. This month is big and little size words. And the Literally Dead book club pick fulfills this prompt for me. It is called something, All Her Little Secrets by Wanda Morris, I believe is what it's called. It is a thriller about a lawyer lady who shows up to work. She's having an affair with her boss and her boss winds up dead and she's like the suspect. Sounds interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily something I would have picked up on my own, but I think it'll be good. But I couldn't fit that into one of these, so we can talk about the rest of them now. The first one that I'm doing, Honey, which is a term of endearment, but like that was the category, so I'm trying to not go completely with that, but you kind of have to go with that anyway, so I'm doing like a 2-for-1. With The Golden Couple by Greer, Hendricks, and Sarah Pekkanen. This is about a couple who are going to a couples counselor because they're having issues or whatever. But also look at this flower. Is this not honey colored? This is the most honey colored thing I've ever seen, so I'm counting it. I have read all of Greer, Hendricks, and Sarah Pekkanen's backlist at this point, so I'm very excited to get into this. It's gonna be a 5 or a 1. I can feel it. The next prompt that we're using is hair. So this one I feel kind of bad about, but also it's my TBR game, so you can't be mad at me. I'm going with hair on the cover, which yes is a stretch, but like I've had birds before and I go for birds on the cover, so why should hair be any different? different. I know that it's different, but let me have this. But this one I am also sort of giving you a 2-for-1. Neither of them are very strong, but together they're fine. For hair, I am going to be reading Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. The second part of this, I'm going off of the long hair don't care vibe. Delilah Green Doesn't Care, you know, why am I explaining it? You get it automatically. This is a sapphic rom-com that I have heard nothing but good things about. I believe it's about a wedding photographer going back to her small town for her sister's wedding, and she likes one of her sister's friends, something like that. I've been kind of slumpy in March, and I've been needing a good romance, so I think this might be the one. Next prompt, what are we doing? Oh, we have Havana, which I immediately thought of My Year in Havana. It's something like that, but I'm not going to be reading it. I have no interest in it. Sorry, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. No, the next one that I'm going to be using is history, and for that I am going to be reading a historical fiction, which is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste. I was actually kind of surprised that this was historical fiction. This is one of the things that I wanted to read for a vlog, but I looked it up and it said set in the 1970s in Ohio, and I was like, perfect. I believe this is the story of a Chinese immigrant family, and the daughter has a very promising academic career and then is found dead one day. I loved Celeste Ng's other book, Little Fires Everywhere, and I feel like this is going to have similar vibes, so I'm very excited. Excited is probably the wrong word, because they're very, like, not dark, but heavy books, so I'm intrigued. Glad is still bad. Excited really is the only word, so yeah, I'm excited to read it. How many is that? 3? We need 2 more? Oh, I skipped one. The second one on my list is Handmade, and this one seemed like kind of a stretch too, but I really want to read it. The Light from Uncommon Stars by Ryka Aoki. It was pitched to me as Good Omens meets Becky Chambers, which like is perfect for me, but I was kind of surprised in rereading the description of it that the majority of it takes place in a donut shop in California. Not that I'm complaining, I just kind of assumed it would be set in space, but no. But the donut shop serves, quote, fresh made donuts, which means handmade, which means it counts. This is one of my 5-star predictions. I'm super excited to get to it. And then the final one, I am doing Holding Breath, which if you've been on booktube for a minute, you might have a Pavlovian response to it. Is it Pavlovian? Just a general response to it in terms of the phrase of she let out her breath, she didn't know she was holding, which is widespread. I think particularly in the YA fantasy genre. If you want to have a good time like I just did, just Google the phrase and you'll get some fun articles about it. There's a Goodreads list of all of the books that include it. The book I want to read wasn't on there, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the sentence is still in there. A YA fantasy book, naturally. Maybe the YA fantasy book? I don't know if it's the YA fantasy book, but it's up there. It is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I know some people have said that The Gilded Wolves is a ripoff of this, but I love The Gilded Wolves, and it's just sort of a heist story with an ensemble cast. Maybe there'll be more similarities once I get into it, but that's a trope that really works for me, evidently. I did watch the Shadow and Bone adaptation, which did include the crows, which was easily the best part of that show. So I'm excited to get into it, and I think I've had enough time and distance from the show that adaptation won't be an issue for me, and that I can just picture the characters more clearly. Hopefully that's what's going to happen, and that it will be a good time. I don't really have a stack to hold up this time. Here's one book that I'm going to be reading, but that is the end of my TBR for April. I think it's going to be good. Like I said, I've been a little bit slumpy, so these are all books that I'm really excited about. Should be relatively short, should be relatively fast-paced and easy to get through. At least I hope it turns out the way that I want it to. Being in a slump is really not a good time. I've heard other people complain about it, and I've been in like mild slumps before, but I haven't finished a book in almost 2 weeks. That's unusual for me. But that was March. We're on to April. We're on to bigger and better things with all these books. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.